Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Season 2 of Behind the Bench. I am one half of your team, Rocco Granato from InLacrosseWeTrust.com, and with me again for another year, we re-signed them for another year, from Toronto, Canada, Gary Groove. Gary, how you doing? And from Lax Philly, of course. How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing well. The season's upon us, and here we go. A nice early start. It'll fill your stockings up with game number 2, maybe.
Yeah, an early start. And last we spoke, we crowned the Minnow Cup. We seen the Peterborough Lakers come back and win the Mann Cup again. We had the San Diego Seals announced to the National Lacrosse League starting 2018-19 season. Then we talked about in September a Philly Lax team coming. Well, this past Wednesday, the name was revealed, and if that opening song was any inclination to what it was, the Philadelphia Wings are back. There was over 7,000 votes, and well over 5,000 were placed on the Philadelphia Wings.
Now, let's be real. How many did you put in there?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I only put a few in, to be honest.
Come on.
No, seriously. No. I only voted a couple times because the other two suggestions, the Philadelphia Fire, that name is now with a women's lacrosse team here in Philadelphia, so you knew that was out. And the Founders.
Yeah.
No, it ain't going to be the Founders, okay? So, I'm not going to sit there and keep on clicking vote nonstop 5, 6, 100 times, okay? And plus, you don't know if it's taken every single vote. It may only take one vote every 24 hours.
Could be.
So I voted a couple times. You knew what it was.
There would be a riot if anything else happened. So.
Yeah, I mean, you knew what it was going to be. From my talks with some of the people in the office, at times you kind of got that impression of what it was going to be. But in December of 2018, the Philadelphia Wings are back, and they will be playing lacrosse at the Wells Fargo Center. Right now, it looks like the expansion draft will be in August, and then the regular draft will be in September. But Gary, there's been a lot going on in the league. We've seen Billy D. Smith leave Buffalo, and he's now wearing the teal and purple of Rochester. We've seen a lot of players change sweaters. Scott Carnegie is now on the Colorado Mammoth, for one. He's on their practice squad. Joe Walters was released by the Nighthawks. He was released from the inactive roster. Zach Reed is now over in Buffalo. Also, the Drexel assistant coach and goalie coach, Chris Collins, former Philadelphia Wing, is the third-string goalie for the Buffalo Bandits for this year. But
we also have Anthony Malcolm, who's in Vancouver.
Yep.
David Brock, who's in New England. Tim Edwards, who's now on the Colorado practice roster. And let's not forget Ryan Benesh, who's now wearing, of course, Colorado colors.
Yes.
And shoes.
Mm-hmm. So,
and, of course, our big one was the Evan Kirk and Aaron Bold.
Yes.
Swap.
Big-time swap, and they did sign Bold to a contract. So it's going to be quite interesting. And then, of course, Bill O'Brien, a fan favorite in New England.
Now in the Arena League, Arena Lacrosse League, with the Peterborough Timberwolves.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. He was released by New England, and he is he's now playing in the ALL, the Arena Lacrosse League. Obviously, to hone up on his stick skills and everything else, to hope we get another shot. But when you look at the players that were released that are out there, you can easily make 2 teams out of with some of those players. So that's going to be big when next year's expansion draft comes through, and players that are just free agents out there of, who these teams are going to be, picking up. Yeah, and I'm even looking down on the transactions. You even have Andrew Suter. He's now playing with the Vancouver Stealth.
Yeah, he lasted all of 1 day on the free agent market, which surprised me he lasted that long on the free agent market.
Yeah.
Because Vancouver strengthened themselves up immensely.
Yeah, and that's going to be something very, very interesting. I mean, you look at the teams out there right now, and you look at their goalies. Okay, you start in the East. With Toronto, you got Nick Rose and Brandon Miller. Then you go down, you got New England, you got Aaron Bold and Doug Jamieson. Buffalo, you now have Alex Bouquet because Anthony Cosmo hung up the pads. Alex Bouquet came over from Colorado, so he will be a starter. And David DeRuscio is the backup there. Rochester, of course, you got Matt Vince, and right now I believe still Agnes Goodleaf. And then in Georgia, it's Mike Poulin, and I don't know who the backup is. I have
goalies on the roster there in Georgia, which is kind of strange, and they're all on the roster. They didn't cut anyone to the practice squad. In fact, the strange thing that Georgia did was they took 4 defensemen and put them all on their practice squad, which is strange. Because now if they have an injury to a forward, they're going to have to go out and sign somebody.
Find somebody, right? Because Brody McDonald went to Vancouver.
That's right, which now makes Vancouver viable in the back end as well.
Right, as long as he can control his head and play the way he should play.
Being a starter, right. Depending on how Bellinger plays, because he stood on his head last year, and to recreate that is not an easy feat.
No, it's not. It's not, but hopefully Brody gets a chance there, and who knows? Maybe he may feel he wants to be a starter, and I know he wants to stay out west, if he can, because he's from that area. Maybe San Diego signs him, as their goalie, but that's months down the line here. But the one surprise to me during this training camp, Cole Schaefer, who was drafted by Calgary, okay? He was cut by Calgary. Then a day or two later, he was picked up by Vancouver. And within a week, he was released by 2 teams. So I don't know what, he played good with Langley in the WLA. So I don't know, we all know with only 9 teams right now, all the talent that comes in, even though you're drafted, doesn't guarantee you anything. So,
yeah, but you take a look at in Calgary also, especially. You take a look at what's there offensively.
Right.
Plus they were able to have a steal at the draft because Rochester decided to go for a face-off guy in Withers. All of a sudden, Zach Currier, the number 1 person in the draft, went number 3.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
So they have them. And then, of course, you have the regulars there. So, it's an awful lot of scoring power to try and overlap so you can make that lineup.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't even make the practice squad or anything, so, I mean.
Well, you've got Tyler Pace, you've got Kalanick, you've got Dolby, Dixon. How many players are we going to go through here?
Yeah, and then Vancouver, the same thing happened to him down in Vancouver. So, who knows? Maybe
Vancouver again. You have Small. You have
Reese Dutch.
Dutch. You have one after the other. We can go through that one too.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe he catches on with a San Diego, or he comes in as a free agent with Philadelphia.
Yeah, let's not also forget we got to get Logan Schuss as well, and
right.
It's again and again and again. They even added Tony Malcolm from Buffalo, right?
Yeah, and it's really going to be interesting this year to see what these teams do. You know, because we could go through the rosters. I mean, I'm looking. I see Reed Acton is now over with Buffalo from Georgia. They still got Callum Crawford. Yeah, Callum Crawford's over in Buffalo now.
Yep.
I'm trying to see if there's any other.
Well, Buffalo lost a few things there, right? They lost Cosmo, they lost Benesh. Alex Keto Hill's not playing this year.
Yep.
They cut Billy D. Now you have Edwards, Malcolm, you have Watt, Will, and also Blaze Reardon, right?
No, he's not on there.
Right, that's gone too. Yeah.
He's gone. Yeah. So
they're all gone. Those guys are gone. So they have hardly anybody from before. New bodies that are Reed Acton, Alex Bouquet. Josh Burns is going to be a number 1 draft pick overall, so he's going to be a big plus, I think.
6'3", 200 pounds. Josh Burns.
Durston's going to be a big plus there too.
Yeah.
Chase Fraser, Ethan Schott, Ryan Wagner. They have pieces, but I don't think that this is. How long is it going to take to gel? Yeah. And then of course you have, Mark Steinhaus who's there, but how much has he got left in the tank now?
Yeah, he's 37.
Yeah.
I think he's the oldest by far.
Like Durston to come in has got a huge role to fill. A lot of promise down the road, but I don't know if this is the year that's going to happen.
Yeah, because he's 37 and Callum Crawford's 33. So yeah, I mean it's going to be. I think Buffalo's halfway through a rebuild, but
yeah, but they still have a little ways to go, I think.
Yeah, I mean they picked up a big piece in Alex Bouquet. That was a big thing.
Well, yeah, now they didn't have to worry about Cosmo anymore, right? And
right.
DeRuscio wasn't going to be the answer.
No, DeRuscio I still think is a year or two off. If that, at all. I'll say as far as being a starter. But yeah, I mean, Craig England's over in Buffalo, and
which has got to be the first time he's lasted on a team longer than a year.
Yeah. Steve Priolo. We know what happened with him last year. Okay, he was, in both our opinions and a bunch of other people out on social media, snubbed for the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, that he was.
Okay, so I have no doubt that at 6'5", 234 pounds, which is what they have him listed as, he's going to be wreaking havoc out on that floor. Okay,
he also had a really good summer over in Victoria. He had a great summer there, living out of his van.
Yeah, down by the river.
But he also had a really good Heritage Cup. He played really well there too.
Yeah.
And having a chat with him just after the game, he's looking forward to this year as well. So he's in great shape, ready for it. So, away we go.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be something, but there's a lot there, for that team to really pick up on, because you still have the Georgia Swarm that are out there. For Toronto
has gotten a lot better. They have Rob Hillier back. That's key.
Yeah, big time.
That's probably number 1. But you also have Adam Jones, and you have Stephon LeBlanc.
Yep.
And we can go on and on and on. Let alone Captain America, Tom Schreiber.
Yep.
And how good he was when he had no space. Now they're going to have to give him space with all that on the floor, and to have him operate.
Yeah, McCardle's back. Magnuson. Obviously Brody Merrill.
We got a kid out there now. His name is Drew Belgrave. He made the roster.
Yeah.
He's a little gazelle. We lost a number of people on defense. We lost Rob Marshall retired. A few others retired. Casey Behrens retired. So they had a couple of holes to fill. Jesse Gamble won't be back because of work commitments this year. I think he's now the vice president of the company he works for down on Bay Street.
Yeah,
there were a number of little holes there that had to be filled. And Belgrave is going to be a big plus in that transition game. And I see a lot of upside because the team looked very, very good overall in the preseason.
Yeah, and let's not forget Latrell Harris. You want to talk about defense?
Just coming into his own now.
19 years old. 6 foot, 215 pounds. He played phenomenal last year. I mean, now, second year, everybody's saying, oh, is he going to hit that sophomore slump? Or the sophomore swoon, or whatever you want to, call it. But, I don't know. Like we talked about last year, there's a huge upside to Latrell Harris, especially at his size and his age. I mean, he's still a young kid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of upside.
Yeah, I mean, Hillier, Hickey.
Now, Turner Evans is going to have to be back mid-season. Same thing with Jalen Rogers, because Jalen Rogers with shoulder surgery and Turner Evans with knee surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be around later in the year. There's a few spots, but it's funny because The Rock released Mikey McDonald, which was interesting because I thought he never really caught on last year. He had a great training camp, and then never really caught on after that. And he was the big healthy scratch week to week to week to week.
Right. Yeah. So Toronto's got a pretty.
Yeah, because they also now Phil Caputo's going to get his shot to be on the lineup every day.
Yeah.
You have Sandy Chapman, Damon Edwards. We talked about Latrell Harris. Bill Hostrauser's there, and he's picked up his game quite a bit. He's not just the enforcer anymore. He actually is a viable transition guy as well as a good stay-at-home defenseman. You've got Brad Cree as your face-off guy. Magnuson, if Brad Cree doesn't want to be a face-off guy, because he stepped in beautifully last year. We can't forget Brock Sorensen or Brody Merrill now on transition either, can we?
No, you cannot, especially Brody Merrill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I watched him this summer. He may be pushing, late 30s, but
oh, he's still a gazelle.
He still has it. It's
the heart of a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
Sorensen, now that he's healed, we should have a good season out of him as well.
Yeah, Toronto's going to be quite interesting. Now we go to New England, and there's been a few changes there. As we mentioned in the beginning of the show, Aaron Bold is now the man between the pipes. As there was
now, the biggest question there is, being that Aaron is still working and living in Edmonton, is at his age, the travel it takes just to get to a game is roughly 8 hours.
Right.
To do that all year long, I know it's grueling on me to do something like that, and I'm a lot older than he is, but I'm curious, but I don't have to play games.
Yeah, well, who knows? I mean, he did a video chat up on Twitter or Facebook Live, or one of them, and he said he's ready. He's not going to let the travel bother him, and he has everything all set up, what he needs to do, and
that's great. I hope that's true, but I can say it won't bother me too, but I know it will.
Right, and then
we'll see. It's a good step because Aaron's a great goalie, great guy. He's going to be terrific for that team.
Yeah, I mean, but you're only as good as your defense is, okay? And I want to look at the defense. As we stated, they got rid of Bill O'Brien. Mm-hmm. They picked up Adam Bomberry from Rochester. Mm-hmm. 23 years old, 6'1", 215. He was thrown in, kind of in and out with Rochester, but Adam Bomberry can play defense, so he's going to be a big addition there. Okay, you got David Brock back. I won't say back with New England, but back in that organization, because he once did play for Philadelphia, and we all know that they moved and everything. So you got David Brock, who came over from Buffalo. Sheldon Burns returns back there on defense. You have...
Yeah, he's good and young at 26, so...
Yeah. You got
the young bucks at Joel Coyle, Matt Spranger, and Sheldon Burns, right?
Yes. And then...
So you have a very young defense that is seasoned.
Yeah.
And can play very, very well. As well as David Brock, Manny, and Suttons, right?
Yeah, Coyle's only 24. Brock is 31. Let's see here. You got... Manny's only 32. Mm-hmm. Suddens is the senior. He's 39.
Now, the big deal breaker for me, and it was just to throw in a part of that bold and Kurt trade, was John LaFontaine is now part of New England on transition.
Yes.
There wasn't a place for him in Saskatchewan.
Right, and I think he's going to do very well here.
I do too. I think that's the deal break.
Yeah, I think he's going to do very, very well with New England. And you still got Jay Thornberry back here on transition, taking the face-offs. You got Colton Watkins on transition, Riley O'Connor, Seth Oakes, J.P. Keeley, one of their picks.
Now, if Bull does wear down, you do have Doug Jamieson, and he had a phenomenal summer.
Yes. Minnow Cup winner.
He looked fantastic in Minto. He was unbeatable.
Right. And now you just have to see about how it transfers over into the...
Now, the net's going to be 4x4 as opposed to a little smaller.
Right.
And, you have NLL guys shooting at him as opposed to...
Minnow Cup.
Into it. So, yeah, there's a few little things to be had. But he's another year older, another year wiser, and another year of experience under his belt.
Right.
I like Doug. Doug's got a very, very great composure. He's never too high, never too low.
No.
Just keeled. So I don't think any of this will bother him at all.
No, I
think pushing the idea of getting a little more work.
Yeah, I mean he showed in the Minnow Cup. He's ready. He's ready to do what needs to be done. So that's going to be big help to Aaron Bold. The
Offensively, they're strong as hell.
Yeah.
You have Evans, Crowley, both Buchanans.
Right.
Maybe Lee will be coming in. He won't be a problem scoring either.
No, and you also have Mark Cockerton, who made
Walt Watkinson also off the draft, right?
Yeah. Yeah, their offense is going to be good. I'm hoping.
Though, when you're dealing with Derek Keenan, very seldom does Derek Keenan get outsmarted in a trade.
Yeah, he did on this one.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he knows something we don't.
Yeah, maybe.
Very seldom, especially something this high spoken about. Yeah, does he get, shall we say, checkmated out of his trade?
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see. Something's up. Something somewhere is up. And whether it's a year or two down the road, something's up somewhere here.
Yeah. Yeah, something don't smell right.
Yeah, because, say getting rid of Adam Jones, granted, he could only play half a season for them, and to Toronto, he scooped up some first-round picks for that.
Right.
So come the, excuse me.
Come the draft.
That'll come in really handy afterwards.
Yeah.
Or it'll come in handy to save some players to not be expanded, so to speak.
Right. Because that's what we saw. We seen Georgia do that.
Yeah, they both did it.
Trade away a lot of picks.
A lot of things they could have picked, and they traded them for the now, and then kept the picks for the future.
For the future, right. Where they won't lose anybody, those picks in the expansion draft, because we still don't know what those rules are going to be.
Right. Or if they can trade picks to keep players.
Right. I mean, we're under the assumption that it may be 10 runners and a goalie and no pullbacks, which, for those that aren't familiar with pullbacks, it's when you lose a player, an unprotected player in an expansion draft, you're allowed to take one back for every one that you lose. But as of right now, from what we've been hearing, it's 10 runners, a goalie, and no pullbacks. So we'll have to wait and see.
They're both maximums, too, because they can't just fleece an entire team.
No. I mean, usually it's, I think, like 3 players a team. 2 or 3 players.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. Once you hit that, that mark, that's it. You can't. Because otherwise you could, San Diego and Philly could sit there and say, oh, let's pick apart.
Well, Philadelphia will pick apart Saskatchewan, and then San Diego will pick apart Georgia, and we'll just move the teams, right?
Right. So, we have to wait and see what those rules are going to, be, further down the line. But, New England has a, I'll say a good offense. I still want to see more out of Seth Oakes and Riley O'Connor. because your two big snipers on that team are Evans and Crowley. And you could add Kevin Buchanan in there. Kyle Buchanan is kind of like the touch and go. We've seen that last year. So I would like to see, a little bit more so they have, where they don't have that huge drop off in points, between the first two. But I think they're going to be in the playoffs again this year. I feel. Now let's see. We go Rochester.
There's another interesting one there.
For what? New England or Rochester?
Rochester.
Okay.
You have 8 new faces, which include 3 rookie draft picks and a 15-year veteran in Billy D. Smith. You have an absolute killer defense now with Billy D. and Paul Dawson, who look to be in very, very good shape. Heritage Cup. You also have the likes of Scott Campbell, Graham Hossick, Ian Lord, Luke Magnum, Sid Smith, Eric Schul, and of course Matt Vince in the back.
Right.
On the bench.
Yeah.
Now, you have offensively, they can be very, very potent too. Well, because you have Dangerous Dan Dawson, and again, he is probably in the best shape of his life, from what I saw and what I've been told over the last couple of weeks. And you have Resiteris, Vitarelli. You have the number 5 pick in Austin Shanks.
Yeah.
You have the number 6 pick in Eric Fennell, who played great in the summer with the Rock. And you have Josh Courier, who had a great year last year. All around, right?
Yeah, and you can't forget about Vitarelli either. Vitarelli can be...
I'll mention him, but you're also going to have Withers as a face-off specialist right out of Ohio State.
Yep.
So, major factors there.
Yeah, it should be real interesting to see how...
The thing here is Cody Jamieson going to be 100%? And if he is, with all these other pieces, they could be right in the hunt right away. But that's a pretty big if.
Yeah, because they don't have him on the active roster yet.
No. They were hoping to have him back in the end of the summer for the playoffs.
Right, for the Mann Cup.
And that wasn't happening either. So I think by rushing last year, I think they're going to take their time this time around and make sure it's done right.
Yeah.
And that way, when he does come back, they have him.
Right, so now the question would be, obviously, he comes back in, do you take out a forward or do you take out a defenseman?
It's a nice problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah. You got to look and see, who do you, sit or, rotate,
Yeah, he might go with a rotating guy.
Yeah, maybe you sit Billy D one game and Vitarelli or Lord or whoever, you got to...
Never, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, but, they also have Kyle Jackson back here on offense. So, yeah,
Withers is a face-off guy. They're all of a sudden going to be liable to get the ball right off the hop.
Off the hop, yeah, and that's a big thing that you need.
Yeah, and they haven't had that in the last couple of years.
No, especially if you end up playing from behind or just if you want to control the tempo of the game. You want to be able to control it. Get the face off and, do what you want to do. So Rochester should be kind of interesting. And they start off the season, next week they got to play Calgary. So that should be kind of interesting. Now let's go to the champions, the Georgia Swarm. Don't think there's really a whole lot of turnover there.
There's a few things in there. They lost a few people, which become a little bit of a problem. Well, they get Jesse King back. That's one thing. After a year-long injury. And but the thing is, how well is he going to be playing right away? That's one that's really up there for all of us to think about.
Yeah.
They lost a couple of people in there, though. And generally speaking, I think they're pretty well. They have the Thompsons, right?
Yeah, they're still there.
All of them are there, and all of them are healthy, and all of them are going crazy. But
yeah. Lyle, Miles, and Jerome, they're all there.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It is because them alone can definitely take over, as we found out in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you got 3 Thompsons, Randy Stotts, Johnny Palace, who can turn it on at any moment in time. Let's see, we go up and Jesse King. Got to see how he comes back from the injury. Shane Jackson.
Well, here's the numbers that I have here. Mitch Bilal retired. Chad Tutton is the physically unable to perform list. They don't have Jordan Hall, Ethan O'Connor, or Joel White, and they're all on the holdout list. You do have Jason Noble back, but he's clearly not 100%, at least not through preseason.
Right.
And the Georgia Swarm, through preseason, their defense got lit up. So, is there a problem there? Who knows? Maybe it's just preseason, and they're just getting themselves into form.
Yeah. Now, who did Poulin goalie a lot during the preseason, or
I'm sorry?
Was Poulin in between the pipes for a lot of the preseason?
He was.
Really?
He was. Now, again, that brings us to the question of which Mike Poulin is it. But they also had the other 2 goalies, which is probably why they kept 3 on the roster.
Yeah.
But it creates a problem, and they have 4 defensemen on their practice squad. So it's interesting, for a team that's a champion, I don't list them as number 1 in the division.
No. I'm looking at, from what I'm seeing in the division, I'm looking at Toronto.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, not me, because it's the Homer opinion that says Toronto.
No.
But I look on paper, and I think Toronto has an edge.
Yeah, I mean, you could have said it, and I would have backed you up 100% on that. I think my order, in this division, it's going to be Toronto, New England, Georgia, and then Rochester's going to be right there. I think Georgia's going to drop down to a 3, and they might even have to fight for that 3rd spot with Rochester. In all honesty,
I have Rochester listed as number 4 myself, and Buffalo coming up
in 5. Right? Yeah, same order here. But I think that if Georgia doesn't tighten up their defense, and Rochester jumps out the way people are hoping, and then when Cody Jamieson gets back into the mix,
it could even switch the other way.
Right.
Yeah.
You have Rochester in 3.
All the pieces, if they can put them together and these guys can work together.
Yeah.
They can work their way all the way up to fighting for second.
Yeah, I mean, I have like we both said, we have Toronto 1 in the division, but it's going to be a fought out number 1 in the division. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't see them winning it by like 3 games or whatever. It's going to be a fight. It really is. And
the goaltending goes.
Yeah.
If they get steady goaltending from Rose and Miller,
right, and we also
be a whole lot better off.
And we also what Miller did last year.
It's, my head is flat.
Yeah.
Then who knows what's going on there?
Yeah, what's going to happen? I mean, it's going to be interesting. It really is. Now we look at the West, and let's start with Saskatchewan. Obviously, we said last year to be the man, you got to beat the man, and that's what Georgia did last year. But right now, I think just looking at their roster, I still think the Rush are the team to beat in the West.
I do too. I don't think, even with the few moves that they made, I don't think they hurt themselves any. LaFontaine wasn't going to make that lineup. He was the odd man out.
Right. And even if he did make the roster, he was going to be like maybe a healthy scratch here and a fill in there. So Keenan did.
Kirk and net with that defense in front, I still think they have the best defense in the league by far.
Right. And
I think Kirk shines.
Yeah, well, it's all going to depend on how the defense is, and
it's easy to get exposed when there's not much in front of you.
Right. And that's what's going to make him look really well, the defense that they have.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, because, their defense, you're looking Ryan Dilks, Matt Hasek.
Now, here's the problem. If Evan Kirk gets injured, then what?
Door opener.
Last year with Bulls, right?
Yeah, you get the door opener.
He gets injured, then what?
Tyler Carlson.
Yeah, it didn't get any better, did it?
Door opener.
I watched him and cringed most of the summer in Brampton, where he would be replaced almost every game. So,
yeah, I mean,
and that was MSL.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a shame. He's only 29 years old, but he just can't seem to get it together. We'll say,
Oh, he has moments of brilliance.
Yeah, moments.
But he also has moments where he's watching the birds or something. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, and it seems like there's more of that than the moments of brilliance.
Like even some of his choices of going out after loose balls and then getting beaten to it and deked. It's like, you're not helping your team any, son.
No, just stay in the net. Don't.
Yeah, please.
Just stay there.
Please.
It's a violation for you if you leave the crease.
Now, another thing that's big is, you have Mark Matthews and Ryan Keenan, but you now have Jeff Shatler in there, too. And I think that's a pretty good fill-in for Adam Jones.
Yeah. I mean, you look... But their whole offense, it's just... You really got to shake your head on it because, like you said, you now have Jeff Shatler. You got him paired up with Ben McIntosh, Mark Matthews, and Robert Church. Add in Ryan Keenan for his second year. Matthew Dinsdale. You got a pretty potent offense.
Well, even take a look at how many transition players there are there. You have Jeremy Thompson. You have Adrian Sorchetti. You have Chris Corbeil. You have Jeff Cornwall.
Yeah.
All of these guys are monsters.
Yeah, and they could all run the ball up with the offense.
And that's been Keenan's plan most of the time, is to go and get things done quickly to put the other team in disarray where they can't make their changes correctly.
Yeah, because they're not your normal. Yeah, they're not your normal transition players. You see transition players on other teams. They get the ball, they bring it up the floor. They cradle it. They handle the ball and they run towards their bench as the offensive players come on and toss them the ball, and they get off the floor. Transition players here with Saskatchewan, I stopped myself.
Pretty early in the season for that.
Yeah. With Saskatchewan is these guys will run the ball up and they'll be part of the offense. They'll have them in the mix with the play, and as they rotate through, they'll step off. They won't, just wait until everybody comes across the line. If they have an opening, they're going to take it. And
well, let's also go to the fact that Jeremy Thompson is the smallest one of those transition guys at 5'11", 190. Sorchetti's 6 feet 200 listed.
Listed, yeah.
Bill is 6'3", 195, which I think is underweight. And Cornwall is 6'3", 220. You're going to get in the way of that?
No. And at my size, I still wouldn't get in the way of the 6'3", 220.
Transition guys.
Yeah.
Big, they're strong, and they're talented. And I don't see anybody in the West that are going to bump them off their hill.
No. Yeah, so I mean, they just, they have everything right there. I mean, it's just going to be another rush to the top.
What's interesting though is number 2 in the division. I have Calgary.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
just from the way things have gone on in their drafting.
Let's see who they have. Let me see. Because last year they finished 4.
The steal of the draft, they have Zach Currier, right? They have Tyler Pace. They have Anthony Kalanick. And then you put them with Dane Dobie and Curtis Dixon, and the next can score, yeah?
Yeah.
The Achilles heel is going to be Del Bianco and Scigliano.
Yeah.
Del Bianco, I'll tell you what, in Minto, he looked amazing. He's the reason why the Ironbacks were there. There's no two ways about it. And he showed brilliant excellence last year, at least in flashes. The interesting thing is that the face-off guy, Bob Snyder, he's on the practice squad.
Yeah, so I'm wondering who's going to do.
The question if Westberg doesn't sign, because he's not signed as of now.
No, and that's a big part of their offense too. Westberg, you know.
Yep.
So who are they going to have that's going to take the face-offs?
Yep. Well.
You know, you're going to have. You know,
they're trying people out in that position.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually a transition player.
Be on there all season long. I think he's going to be up there sooner than later.
Who?
Snyder. I think he'll be there while somebody else moves down.
Yeah, most likely. But yeah, that's going to be the big question: the goaltending.
But you see, I was sure about that until Suter moved to Vancouver. Because if you look at the Vancouver team that they have now, from the back out, you know, with Belanger and McDonald, you all of a sudden have a pretty formidable goalie thing.
Yeah, well, okay. So, I mean, their offense. I mean, yeah, they have
They have Dutch, Schuss, Small.
Well, no. I'm still looking at Calgary here.
Oh, okay.
Because I wanted to go to Colorado after Calgary. You got Katoni. Then yeah, you got Digby, you got Dixon, you got Doby. But you know, Riley Lowen is now, you know, he's there. Vaughn Harris. And yeah, like you said, it's going to be.
And again, you come down to, you know, the draft picks, right?
Yeah.
Zach Courier, Tyler Pace, and Kalanick. You know, like if they blend, they're going to be a formidable team.
Yeah, you got to transition in two defensemen, and hopefully they can, I guess you could say, provide a little relief for the goaltending.
Yep.
Because if not, I mean, we saw what happened last year with the goaltending.
Well, yeah, and it was by committee.
Yeah, and
nothing ever settled until game time, and even then.
Right, and you really can't, you know, do that by committee because you don't know, you know, what's going to happen from one day to the next.
Yeah.
You know, and that's.
Bianco has the job until he loses it.
Right. So hopefully it comes around because I know they had a rough season. Now we look at the Mammoth, always a thorn in the side of the Rush, and also a thorn in the side of Calgary.
But holy Christ, did the injury bug ever?
Oof.
You know, with Coates and Holding gone with season-ending injuries before the preseason even started.
Yeah.
Before camp even started. Oh my God. You know, Bryce Sweeting and Zach Greer also have injuries.
Yeah.
You know, will they return? There's still a question on that.
And the other guy
has no one to play with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
you know, you're gonna, you know, Dylan Ward is definitely the number one goalie, being one of the best in the world.
Oh yeah. And
you know, I'm not convinced with their backup because I've seen him the last few years.
Yeah, so have I. Stephen Fry. Yeah.
You know, I watched him in preseason, and you know, he looked awkward.
Yeah. I mean, just I don't know. I mean, I've seen him when he was with Philly. You know, he had ups and downs. He had a lot of promise, and I don't know, something. You know, just wasn't, you know, clicking right, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, they have
in the back there. They have Josh Sullivan, Greg Downing, Taylor Stewart, Robert Hope, Jordan Gillis, Brad Self, Caputo's there, Cello, Mackey, Rowan Kelly.
Well,
they have a athletic defense.
Yeah, they have defense, and they do have offense. You got Chris Wardle. You have
Jake Twist.
You got Stephen Keogh. You can't forget about Keogh.
No, and you said Jeremy Noble's back.
Right, and
Eli McLaughlin.
You got Ryan Benesh.
Really good training camp in preseason.
Yeah, you got Ryan Benesh, and you know, even though Caputo is on defense, he's still a threat to score.
Yeah, transitionally, he's quick.
Yeah.
And you got Brody Eastwood also bringing a veteran presence, but also you have a third-round pick in Ryan Lee. And how he is going to come across is going to be a lot of how Colorado's going to come across.
Yeah. And let's not forget about Eli McLaughlin.
Nope, not at all.
So they do have some offense, but they could certainly use Zach Greer. That's for sure.
Now, what they need to do is start quickly.
Yes.
Unlike every other year where they seem to, maybe start and then stop dead. They need to have some momentum building. Because otherwise, the other teams have improved. Everybody's improved in that division. So, let's see. Let's see if the injury bug didn't kill him, because, it just had me shaking my head that before training camp already you had these major injuries.
Yeah, major injuries. You had a couple guys already out into the,
for the year. Especially after they did all the movements, and they looked like they were just, primed and ready. Because those are huge, with Cam Holding and Dan Coates.
Yeah.
We had talked about it when Benesh got traded, that, Greer and Benesh, wow. Well, we don't have that right now either.
No.
Sweeting also, so we'll see. We'll see where that winds up.
And now let's see. Now let's look at Vancouver. Vancouver, they're actually...
I like what they
Now, wait a minute. Is that... Hold it. Something don't look right here. What?
Let's see. Offensively, you have Dutch, Schuss, and Small.
Yeah, but wait, Gary, you know what I'm trying to figure out?
What's that?
When you look at it on NLL.com, right?
Uh-huh.
It has Vancouver South Division rank 1. Normally, list the teams in alphabetical order or the place they finished last year. Could they be saying this is how they're going to finish this year? That Vancouver's going to be number 1?
Well, no, because the Eastern Division has Georgia, Buffalo, Rochester, Toronto on the bottom.
Yeah, I know. That's what's...
I just think it's random.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems, just odd. You know what I mean? You're looking at that like, okay, Vancouver 1?
No, I just think that's random.
Yeah.
There's no stats to go on.
No, there's no stats, and unless you're doing it reverse alphabetical order in the West, who knows? But yeah, with Vancouver,
Malcolm is going to be a big addition offensively with Dutch, Schuss, and Small, and that's something they're going to need is just to get the ball off because Billings isn't back.
no,
Not that he was really adding anything, anyways, because he was a healthy scratch through most of it. Evan Messenger, Joel McCready, and James Ray also. If they can all fit together, you're looking at a pretty formidable front team. Transitionally, with Ryan Fournier being drafted, now he joins Brandon Cleland, Cornwall, Salt, and Smith, and it looks like Cleland has made up with the coaching staff. Some of them have placed there.
for now.
Going to get a fair shake because I was kind of hoping that he would be able to hightail it to Toronto,
Yeah,
but he would have the same problem here of trying to fit into a lineup here. Now the back line, you've got Huxby, McFedrich, O'Doherty, and of course Spears. And the biggest additions could be Andrew Suter.
that's a big time addition.
It's huge, and I really, it took one day for him to get signed as a free agent after Rochester released him, and it amazed me it took that long because he's still got something to give and he's healthy.
Yeah, I mean he's only 28 years old. I mean, it's not like he's over the hill. It's just he's got hit with the injury bug.
The injury bug and a lot of miles in there because from Minnesota to New England to Rochester.
Yeah.
Now over to Vancouver. The frequent flyer miles are going left, right, and center.
Yeah. So
But he's looking forward to a good year. I'm looking forward to a good year from him. If he stays healthy all year, it's only imaginable what he can do.
he can make things a lot interesting in the West.
I think so. That could be the switch that makes Vancouver 2 and Calgary 3.
And Colorado 4.
Yeah, but that also is depending on how they work around injuries.
Yeah.
when they get some of these guys back, if they can hold their own without them and get these guys back, then we can see it's a whole new thing. I think 2, 3, and 4, like last year, is going to be a dogfight. I think you can just put your hand in, it's like bits and bytes. You get a different ranking every time you pull your hand out of your pants.
Yeah, and I mean, the last 2 years, last year and the season before, Vancouver had a chance to lock it up early.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do it. I mean, back in the 2016 season, 15-16 season, we'll say, Calgary started out, I believe it was like 0-6, and Vancouver just couldn't put something together where they could build, a big lead on them. Calgary somehow stayed within a game or two during those first 6 games with Vancouver.
Yeah.
And it's just, and then last year it was, reversed. Once Vancouver got up into that slot, Calgary had to play catch up again when Calgary had it at first, and then they just lost it. And we had to wait till the end of the regular season.
For the last 5-6 games this season, Calgary found it again.
Yeah, and then once Vancouver beat New England, the last regular season game of the season, that's what clinched it for them.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's the biggest roller coaster ride I've seen in a while.
Oh, and I think we're going to see it again. And
it was just dumb luck that they weren't able to make it to the next round.
Yeah. I just think this year there's going to be a few loops added into this roller coaster ride.
In both divisions.
Both. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, well, basically the same way you are. Yeah, Rush as the number 1 team, and then 2, 3, and 4. Hey, play rock paper scissors with the 3.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, unless Zach Greer comes back, that may solidify Colorado a little bit more. But if Wes Berg comes back for Calgary before Greer, who knows? Maybe Calgary can get an early jump and do what they should do.
I think that the team in the West there, that besides Saskatchewan, that gets off to a really good start, might be able to ride the wave. But if you're starting and you're going to be floundering off the hop, that's a mountain and a half to climb.
Yeah.
Especially with you're talking about most of these teams have almost wholesale changes, and trying to get these guys to once a week, if that, to play each other to try and get a feel for what each other is doing. Once again, Saskatchewan is all together still, with the exception of 1 or 2 players. So everybody knows, if you woke them up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and had them run drills, I'll bet you they'll all be in the right position. They just know each other so well, and other teams have to go against this. So,
yeah.
I think the closest to a team that's been meshed is Toronto. They've been together for a couple of years now.
Yeah. I'm on that same wave right now. I'm looking at the schedule, and we're going to go through the schedule next week when we start making our selections. But you look at the first 2 weeks of the season, okay? It starts next Friday on the 8th. Georgia's at New England. Already you got a battle in the East. Toronto and Buffalo. Colorado is at Vancouver. And Calgary is at Rochester. That's the only non-division game, Calgary and Rochester. Everything else is in the division. Then the following week, Vancouver's at Calgary. Saskatchewan's at Toronto. And then, like, when you get closer to Christmas, you got Buffalo, Rochester. I'm just picking out division matchups here. The 29th, Colorado's at Calgary. Rochester at Georgia. Buffalo at Toronto. So yeah, it's going to, the teams are going to be battling for the 2 and 3 seeds. Get things going early against each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be very, very interesting.
Well, the winners in all this is going to be the fans.
Yeah.
There's going to be some the parity in the league. I don't think has ever been better.
No.
And upsets to be had, they can be had everywhere. There's no game that I look at that schedule and go, yep, that's a lock.
Well, we're going to. That's what I want to do this year. I want us to pick our games. I'm going to keep a running track of wins and losses, okay? And maybe even pick an upset in there. Okay? See what game is going to be our upset game.
Mm-hmm.
See if we think somebody's going to do an upset, and just to see how we can pick them, because it seems like last year when we were picking them, it was always the opposite.
Well, yeah, it was a very easy way to make money, is just pick against us.
Yeah, just pick against us. That was doing it. But yeah, I mean, all the teams, there's a lot of changes going on. We've seen certain players go to other teams. We talked about.
Let's sit right away this weekend. I'm going to take New England over Georgia.
Really?
Yep.
All right, you got me going back now to look at this.
I really haven't been that impressed with what Georgia put out in the preseason.
Yeah, I think right now, for what I'm just looking at on the roster and what I've read during the preseason, I think the 4 winners next week: New England, Toronto. I think Rochester's going to beat Calgary. And, I'm going to say Vancouver beats Colorado.
Hey, Vancouver beats Colorado also. I'm on the fence with the Calgary-Rochester game.
Yeah.
That could be a coin flip. And just to be the devil's advocate, I'm going to take Calgary.
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm only going Rochester because they're the home team. I think they just have something to prove to the fans. I think they're going to come out and make a statement on their home opener. Because then 2 weeks later they got Buffalo.
Yeah.
So they start with a couple home games right off the bat. And you know how they always say you have to win your home games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got two.
You don't think mean anything at the beginning of the season are the ones that actually mean everything at the end of the season.
Right. And when you're facing Calgary and you're facing Buffalo right off the start, you need to jump out early with that. So I'm gonna look at it a little bit more in detail, but I'm definite on the first 3: New England, Toronto, and Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
With that, just because of the Andrew Suter factor in that. But
there's a few things in there really with Vancouver, and not to be overshadowed with anything, but if Bellinger gets into trouble and you have McDonald to go in net,
yeah,
I'm not worried about that one either.
No, and at his size.
Well, his size, he only has to take 2 steps to the bench.
Yeah. And when we're
going to take him out and meet people in Langley, and he's going to scare kids.
Yeah. Now, Gary, let me ask you. I want to talk about the real quick the name release of the Philadelphia Wings. Like we said, we knew it was going to be the Wings. What's your opinion on the logo?
You know what? I like it because they did a few things there. They had to do something different. It's a new team. It's a new era. It's a new ownership group. They had to do something different. It's not the 1970s mill thing anymore.
Right.
They did incorporate in the background the Philadelphia skyline, and I like that.
Yeah, that will be shown on the jerseys. And right now, the jersey colors, the base color is going to be like a charcoal gray.
I think it's one of the sharper designs. Now, they also paid homage to the Flyers with Comcast owning them as well.
Right, and that's the P off to the right-hand side.
Yep.
with the four.
With the P for the Philadelphia
Right.
inside the logo as well, and of course the W, the wing. So there's a lot of things going on there. Now, what they've done is they've done their homework. You know, they have groups and ages that they're trying to get into it. They're trying to keep the old people and get fresh blood. So they're using marketing executives and all different groups to try and get this done. Now, you have a catchy looking logo which hits all dimensions and all groups and all demographics. So to me, it's a win-win all over the place.
Yeah, it's a big time win-win. They started.
You get the old. Oh no, I want the old logo. Well, you know, the only thing I have to say to that was, what was your logo last year? Right. So let's go on with this one and let's move new, because you're getting a new team, and you're getting a whole new lease on life, and hopefully it'll be there for the next 500 years.
Yeah, what we were concerned about was getting the team name back, which is what we wanted. We got that. We knew the W would be there. The red is in there, the red and gray, or red and silver, or whatever you want to call it. And then you have the gold mixed in there and everything. A fan did another version of the logo where it was just red, silver, and black. The same way, but only instead of the gold was silver. Mm-hmm. And the W was all black. So
you now have your third jersey. There you go.
Yeah, well, a fan did that design, just as, goofing around. But I like it. The one thing that's funny is the colors are the old Charlotte Cobra colors, too.
Oh, yeah, but we're splitting hairs.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, that's what, I saw that, and I remember mentioning that I would love...
The old Toronto Toro logo colors, so
yeah.
I'm not split hairs on that either.
No, but I said I like the idea of the city skyline, because I mentioned I would like to see that like on the bottom of the jerseys, but having that in the background of the W, I think it's going to look really nice on the...
Kind of subliminally in there. Yeah. It's not, it's across your face.
Right.
It's there.
It's there, yeah.
One of my favorite things with one of the Rock auction jerseys was the Lacrosse Night in Canada one, in which you thought there was just a maple leaf sewn on the shoulder. But if you looked in it very carefully, there was actually sewn on top of a maple leaf that was already printed on the jersey. And there's a few other things in there that were just like, hey, it's subtle.
Yeah.
Subtle sometimes is much better than just in-your-face brash.
Yeah.
And you already have that with the logo. The logo's it's busy. The logo's busy, but it's tasteful.
Yeah.
And everything is seen. Everything is big. You can see everything in there. When I look at it, I can see the Flyers thing. I can see the P. I can see the W in there.
Yep.
I can see the color blend in there. I can see how it works on a jersey that you can still see everything, as well as the background.
Yeah, and you know what? It was really fun being out there, being a part of it. There were some alumni out there. Scott Gabrielson was there, Jake Berge, Paul Denikin. Believe it or not, even New England Black Wolf Kevin Crowley was there. Of course, Kevin lives in the area. And it was fun having NLL TV out there interviewing some of us. I ended up being the first one to be interviewed. I was thrown in by the fan club president. I said during it, Christmas came early for us. Wednesday was our Christmas for Philly lacrosse fans. We got our team back. We got the name back, I'll say. And now, we have to wait and see what happens in the draft. We already started.
Well, it couldn't be any worse than a team that left that had no draft picks left and all kinds of disarray.
Yeah.
So, it's 3 steps up.
Yeah.
From anything right now, so enjoy it. Live the dream.
Yeah. Well, we have to see who we're going to, who we get in the expansion draft and the regular draft, and see how they all can, mesh together. But we already started a thing on Twitter. To the league, we already said that we want New England as our home opener, and for our first road game, we want Rochester, because we can get a nice little fan club road trip going going there. We already started pushing that button already, and we didn't even get this season started yet.
Well, yeah. But I would suggest that they should spend their energy right now marketing tickets all over the place.
Oh, they are.
12,000 season ticket holder base.
They are. They had
anybody who comes in there to be like the old Spectrum.
Yeah, well, they already have, from what I understand, close to about 2,000 already, and that was
That's great.
And that
was a bit of momentum to work off of. But a lot of those 2,000 are the people who haven't let it die since they left. The next 2,000 will be the ones I'm interested about. Those will be the new bloods.
Well,
those are the ones who got involved with the liking the logo, getting involved in liking the league. That's where I'm curious, is how it ramps and morphs from there.
Well, from what we're understanding is that once the team name was announced, the phones were ringing like crazy. So they wanted to see what the team name was going to be, but now they can also market it towards the Philadelphia Flyers as well.
Well, of course, and it should be in Flyers games too, since Comcast owns them.
To their fans, yeah.
On the scoreboard in between periods, there should be ads up there. Should be all kinds of little things up there.
And there are. They from what I heard, they do run ads up on.
The Bandits are doing that now
on the scoreboard.
That Bandits ads.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going in the right direction. Like, the league is smart.
Yeah.
The league isn't just throwing teams where there's not NHL or NBA backup, because they know that they have huge fan bases.
Well, San Diego is already selling their jerseys.
Well, yeah. Jerseys too.
So
that's a great thing.
Yeah.
And the same thing's going to happen, when Edmonton comes back in. The same thing's going to happen when Dallas gets their team. I'm interested if the next Western team is going to be Vegas, with the ownership group there, which is phenomenal, which has got the Golden Knights. And they already have a great new arena and everything else. So it's interesting, but Sakewicz is on to something. Like, we called him Casper for a while. But what you can see now is that he's done an awful lot from behind the scenes, and we're looking at a lot like the soccer league.
Yeah.
And, that once he started getting that in the right direction, bang, take a look at it now.
Yeah. And what does it tell you if you can get the commissioner to do a Wings chant?
Yeah, well, he's in tune with what's going on.
Yeah. We actually had him, he got with...
I was him at the draft, and, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, we got him to pose for a picture in front of the new logo with all the people from the fan club and everything, and we started a Wings chant, and you could hear his voice in the background giving it. Not as loud as us, but...
But he did say it right when he moved the offices back in Philly's area.
Yeah.
That Philly's going to get a team, and he's a man to his word.
Yeah, I mean, when they start talking expansion, you got to get one back here in Philly. You have to find some way, shape, or form, to get one back. And
like I say, with all the hoopla and everything like that, he took a little bit of time just to come over to me and talk to me. And it was really nice of him. And like I say, we had a really good chat at the draft.
Yeah, I met him before
as well as being able to talk to the Dawsons and a few other people that I was able to talk to as I was maneuvering around.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. And Gary, we've talked about this, almost like beating a dead horse. The players, they see you, they know you, they make time to come over to you. Mm-hmm. They make the time. If
they did at Heritage Cup too, when I took Mark on the floor to stand by the trophy, and there we were. Next thing I know, I'm talking with Steve Priolo. Next thing I know, we got Dan taking pictures with us, and Ryan Benes signing balls for my son. It was great. But they're just so friendly. They're just that's what the league's about.
That's exactly what it's about. I mean, they don't get paid the millions and trillions of dollars, and they know what the game's about. They know that the fans love the game, and the players are playing it because they love the sport. And you make eye contact with the players, they see it, they recognize it, and the
guy at Priolo's eyes bug out of his head when I showed him his game-worn jersey from Victoria. so he could sign that one for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be another fun season. Personally, I can't wait till next year so I can see what players we're going to have on the team. See if any former wing players come back. Maybe some players from other teams. I'll just say his name as an example. Maybe like a Jeff Shatler or I don't know. Maybe Adam Jones isn't protected and he comes, or somebody. You know what I mean? Somebody of of that caliber, and we get some top-notch players like that on the team. So it's going to be interesting, especially with the way the draft went this year and who was let go by the teams.
Well, I think both teams are going to have pretty good teams to start out with, both San Diego and Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean,
they've been the quiet ones lately, obviously, since the team doesn't start up again till next year.
And the one name I'm going to keep an eye on is Joe Walters. Mm-hmm. Rochester released him, so I wonder that maybe he comes back and he plays next year, and he gets offered a free agent contract. By
well, because who knows if the MLL is even going to be there? They got enough problems of their own.
Right. I mean, maybe he gets offered a contract by Philly because that's where he should have been to start.
Does Chesapeake know that they're going to spend that money on an arena and on a stadium, and that there's still some problems with the league and lawsuits?
Yeah, I think they still are.
Well, at least the Dallas team can now try and fill a 100,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, Dallas Rattlers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Rochester.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if you remember this though, but we talked about Joe Walters. He was supposed to be on the Philadelphia Wings.
Yeah.
They ended up picking Johnny Christmas instead of him.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Interesting, and this year is going to be an interesting year. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait till next weekend when there's actually games of viability.
Before Christmas.
Yeah, well, it's a strange thing. We all have to kind of move our schedules around a little bit and a little bit of juggling here and there. Mm-hmm. But, we'll be there.
What do you think about it starting this early? Do you like it, or?
With an 18-game season, I don't like it. Because there's too many bye weeks. I thought there were too many bye weeks last year. I was pretty vocal about that last year. When they moved this to a 22-game season like he's going to try, especially with more teams coming in, and it's going to have to be a 22-game season, then it works because then these bye weeks slowly get filled in. Ideally, a team should be like football. There should be a 1 week or maybe 2 week bye week throughout the year, so you have some chance to heal,
right,
hoop, practice, whatever. But anything more than that is ridiculous. That's not using your time well. And then for these playoffs to still go all the way to July, where you're missing out with your MSL teams, you're missing out with your MLL teams,
yeah,
you're missing your WLA teams because the playoffs are going on forever. You have one or the other. If you're going to start it early and not increase it, you finish it earlier, so that we can catch the MSL seasons and WA seasons and MLL seasons. And that way these teams aren't hampered by these seasons dragging on. Yeah, or you make it 22 games, and now with the change in playoff format, it should be a little bit earlier still. Right? By a week or two.
Yeah.
Because you now have a one and done for not only the elimination round, but the first round. Right? And then the finals are best 2 out of 3.
Yeah, they got rid of the 10-minute mini game.
I'm sorry, I heard a lot of, I don't like it, it's dumb, it's whatever. I liked it. I was involved in 3 of them that I was at. And you know what? It really put a different spin on how to do things. Because if you won the first game and weren't winning the second game, then the strategy came in, and we witnessed that during the finals with Rochester and Calgary.
Oh, yeah, big time, yeah.
And Molosky sat everybody, wrote that game off and came out on fire. Now, kudos to Rochester in that one that their talent prevailed, but it was down to the last minute. And for the fans, that was off the charts nutty in there.
Yeah.
You know, against Rochester again with Toronto, where they won the first one, Toronto won the second one, and then ramped it up into a shellacking in that 10-minute minigame.
Shellacking's an understatement.
Oh yeah, but the roof came off by about a quarter-inch from the ACC.
Yeah.
The loudest I've heard that since about 2006.
Yeah.
Like, the place went just bananas. So, you know, there was a lot of things, and you were the only league that had it. That was another thing. And the strategy that penalties carried over so you couldn't goon it up. There were a lot of things in there that were well thought out. But that's gone now, too. So now I'm looking at, you know, their time frame has to be earlier so that the MSL season can get on with it, too.
Yeah, but how much earlier do you start it? Because with the Man Cup ending in the middle of September.
No, I don't mean the season starting earlier. I mean the season ending earlier. If you have this time, you know, you started a month early now. That's 4 weeks. You're right now spreading it out with bye weeks.
Yeah.
Which to me is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Same time.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at each team's schedule and see how many bye weeks each team has.
Like, I'm away in February and I'm not missing a home game. Okay.
Huh.
Figure that one out.
Are they on the road that month? I mean, how much are they?
There were a couple of games on the road, yes.
Okay.
Still, you remember the old schedules where we'd have two games in a weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said like when you have Buffalo playing Rochester on the 23rd. You know. Yeah, Buffalo facing Rochester on the 23rd. You should have it. You know, now the 25th is a Monday, so there you could do like a Friday-Saturday game. 22nd.
Yeah, it's right before Christmas, and maybe not so much because people are busy with other things. And it's
right,
but games.
Yeah, but
I'm not talking about even in the new year. You know, if you're in Buffalo on a Friday, you should be in Rochester on a Saturday.
Either Saturday or Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, but I would even say for traveling, Friday, Saturday, and then you're out and you're back to your family Sunday.
Yeah, and that takes care of 2 games right there.
Sure, or if you're in Calgary, you'll be doing Vancouver.
Yeah.
So why would you fly across the country?
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense. Too many different things can happen. Too many silly things can happen. As we found out with the Rock last year, trying to get from Vancouver to New England.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was just off the charts. And this isn't a new thing.
No.
If they're going to use this kind of time, they should use it to their advantage. And how to do it correctly. So I know this is the first year at it, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fine-tuning to it. And again, if they increase it to 22 games like they're talking, then all of this is moot because they're going to need those weeks to fit in these games.
Yeah, those bye weeks aren't going to be...
So to get people used to a season that starts at this time, because a lot of people said we should start it earlier. But that was in the hopes of finishing it earlier, too, because if you're an MLL fan and you're missing, the Thompson brothers and Sean Evans, maybe you'd like to see them play for your team.
Yeah, I mean...
If MSL and you're missing 2/3 of your team, like the Excelsiors were, because they're still playing, maybe it's time to, get these guys playing.
Yeah, but I mean, the MLL ends in August, and then you have the Man Cup is like the first...
First week of September, usually the first or second week.
Right. Because
you have Minto happening before that, and the MSL season, and you're into the playoffs there. You got guys coming in 2/3 of the way through the season.
Yeah.
Maybe within the first half of the season, that wouldn't be so bad if they missed 3 or 4 games out of an 18-game season. Teams can come back, especially if you're not one of the 2 main cash-driving teams. Nations and Peterborough.
Right.
And look out for Brooklyn this year because Keenan's calling everybody back.
Yeah.
Riolo and Matthews and these guys will all be back. So, I might be spending a lot of time over there in Whitby.
Yeah.
But regardless,
I mean,
using the time correctly, and if we have these extra weeks, they shouldn't be going to bye weeks.
No. And this...
last year we had a couple of weeks where there was 1 game on or 2 games on for the whole weekend.
Yeah, I
Every
mean,
other on a bye week.
yeah, we're going to have that on the 15th and the 16th.
Mm-hmm.
You only have 2 games. You have Vancouver at Calgary and Saskatchewan at Toronto. That's it.
Well, at least you have one early and one late game.
Well, yeah. Well, the late game's on the 15th, and the early game's on the 16th.
Yeah.
You have 1 game each night. You actually have 3 games on the 23rd. I mean, you would think you would put 2 games on the 23rd, have 3 games the week before, because you're, Christmas weekend there,
Oh, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just little fine tunings there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that some have to do with the availabilities for teams and things like that, which is also why the league is looking at expanding with NHL and NBA teams who own their arenas.
On the arenas,
so yeah. Teams aren't third and fourth class citizens in there, and they're lucky to get a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, because you're looking at the 23rd. You got Buffalo at Rochester, New England at Saskatchewan, Georgia's out at Colorado. And then, like, the 29th, a couple days before the New Year, Vancouver's down here, in New England, which really isn't, I don't think, that bad, because I can't remember how many of the Vancouver players actually live out west. Colorado's at Calgary. Then the 30th, Buffalo's at Toronto. Rochester goes down to Georgia. So it's like, they got to get back within the next day or two for the New Year to be with their family. So it's...
Well, even if you look in January, the weekend of the 19th, you've got Saskatoon and Buffalo, or Buffalo and Saskatoon, sorry, on the 19th, and then on the 21st in the afternoon, you've got Rochester, New England. That's it. Then the following week, you have 4 games, right?
Well, and any New England home game is going to be on a Sunday. So...
But I'm just saying there's 2 games on that week.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't... Then what, the 26th, 27th, you got 4, you got 8 teams, and you got everybody in action there. 2nd and the 3rd, 9 and 10 is okay. Oh, 9, 10, 11, okay. 16, 17, 18, 24. There's 3 games on the first weekend of March. 3 the following weekend.
Well, I'll give you an example, too. In February, Toronto plays in Georgia on the 17th of February. The next time Toronto plays is at Air Canada Centre on March the 3rd.
So wait, they play when? February 17th?
Yeah, and then March 3rd.
Okay, so that's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So they have off a week and they play the following week.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's 1 bye week. That's not bad.
But that's the 3rd one of the year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go through each team and see when they have their bye weeks, how many they have, what the pattern is. Play 2 off 1, play 1 off 3.
Yeah, it just seems strange because you have all that time to work with, but the season's still over in middle of April. Huh? No?
Yeah.
End of April.
End of April.
Sorry. So you're going to get your playoffs starting at the beginning of May, which is still going to ramp you into the beginning of June.
Yeah, April 29th the season ends.
Yeah. And by the time you get through 1 week, 2nd week, and then if it goes 3 games, you're in the 2nd week of June again.
Wow, April 29th. And that's a doozy of a game. Georgia at New England.
Yeah, which at that stage might be worth something.
Yeah. Well, all games those last 2 weeks. Toronto's at Buffalo, Calgary, Vancouver, Georgia, Rochester at Buffalo, Calgary, Saskatchewan.
A Sunday at 5 p.m. Interesting.
Yeah, the Georgia-New England game, yeah. That's a Sunday night, so... But yeah, you look at those last 2 weekends, Toronto, Buffalo, Rochester, Buffalo, Calgary, Saskatchewan, Georgia, New England, Calgary, Vancouver. We're going to be in for a bumpy ride. And it's going to be fun, just like last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, next week we'll start picking the games. We'll give our pros and cons and who we think's going to win, and maybe even start to say who's going to win it all next week. We'll start putting that down to see who's going to be in the finals, and we'll go from there. Gary, another fun week.
We're back.
We're back at it again. A little more spunk in my step with the Philadelphia team being announced. We also have San Diego coming in next year. So we jumped from 9 to 11 teams. People can start saying, oh, I would like to see this guy here, that guy there. We won't know till sometime in August of who's going to, go where. Maybe some of these guys that were released, you keep a mental note or jot them down on a piece of paper, and who knows? They may get, an invite as a free agent. Maybe Cole Schaefer, catches on with, San Diego next year or with Philadelphia. He did go to school here, at Drexel University. So, who knows? Maybe this year he gets picked up by a team with injuries. In the game of lacrosse, you don't know. Everybody thought, like you said, Gary, Cody Jamieson would have been back by now. He's not. Rochester's taking their time. So we'll see, what happens there. Who's signed, who's not signed. Physically unable to perform list. I think it's just a place where they put people, but
we'll see.
We'll
it's
see.
It's going to be an interesting year, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a fun year. It really is, and hopefully there'll be a weekend that we're both over in Rochester.
Could very well be.
Yeah, just have to see. I mean, I know when you're taking your vacation and you're going to be out of the country.
I'm going to be out of the hemisphere.
Hemisphere, yeah. And, maybe, sometime in March or April, we'll see about maybe doing another show like we did, together the last time. But until then, for Gary Grube at Lax Philly, before I sign off, I should have done this in the beginning, and I didn't do it. For those that read everything on Lax Philly, good friend of ours, Kevin Nybauer, had how do I want to say this, Gary?
Well, let's go through the situation since we're bringing it up.
Yeah.
There was an event in North Philly that there was a drive-by, and we'll put a real spin to this. The person who was involved in this thing drove his car out of control, hit a pole, happened to be in front of Kevin's place. Now, Kevin, being the person that he is and would lend a hand at the drop of a dime, came out at 3 in the morning trying to help the guy who crashed his car. The guy thanked him and then shot him in the back of the head. The most miraculous thing is that Kevin is on the mend. 500 stitches later, and an entire reconstruction of his right side of his face.
Yep.
And he's barely missed a beat.
Nope.
With us at Lax Philly. He's incredible.
Yeah, I've seen him on Wednesday. He looks like nothing ever happened to him. He saw the guy taking the license plate off. The guy asked him if he called the cops. He said yes. And Kevin did an interview with one of the local TV stations. He said the next thing he knows, it felt like a piece of metal hitting him in the back of the head. And then when he woke up, he found out he was in an ambulance and he got shot.
Yeah, and his road to recovery, he's miraculous how quickly he's recovering.
Yeah, he's doing great. Like I said, I seen him on Wednesday, so he was real happy to be out there. He still has a good bit, recovery to do, but just thankful.
Well, yeah, it's a new lease on life, and the power of positivity, and Kevin is very, very positive.
Yeah, and
the power of positivity goes a long, long way.
And Kevin is the type that will give you the shirt off his back. He will do anything for you. Okay? And, you hate to see something like that happen. You don't like to see it happen to anybody. Okay? But to somebody like Kevin, who is a very close friend to me, we've been dealing with lacrosse since the Philadelphia Wings came. 28 years. Now, actually 32 years now altogether. We've been talking lacrosse. So, to see something like that happen to, a close friend, I know he became a really good friend of yours, Gary, as well. It really hits home. It really does. And, I'm just thankful that everything's going fine with Kevin. They did catch the guy, so...
If anybody is interested, Kevin does have a GoFundMe page because the medical bills have been piling up.
Yeah.
You can find it on his Facebook page. You can find it on my Facebook page.
Did you put it up on Behind the Bench? Put it up on there?
Yeah, it's worthwhile because the money is going to pay bills.
Pay bills, yeah. Because unfortunately, sometimes the city will not do that through the victims crime unit for some reason, and I think they should. It shouldn't be, thrown on the victim of this. Either the city should have something, for a victim crime unit insurance, or it goes to that person's family that they have to pay it. Something. But the good news is that he's doing well. He's alive, and like you said, Gary, he hasn't missed a beat.
No, it's amazing that he's doing updates, and he's putting out interviews still, and he's working his tail off.
Yeah. Him being there Wednesday made the sun a lot brighter, with him being out there with us on Wednesday morning. So, Kevin, keep on fighting. We're there with you. You know that. You have us. Give us a call. Hit us up social media. He knows how to get a hold of people. I mean, he's just... Yeah,
he's nonstop.
No.
Sometimes we got to tell him to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, but he won't. But he won't do that. And once he's up to it, he does want to come on the show. So, I can get him on here, and we can have a little mini round table with the three of us like we had before, which will be really good.
Yeah, definitely.
So, with that being said, we'll do our next podcast most likely next Thursday. Thursday night before the games are played, starting on Friday. That's what we're going to try to do. Try to do them on Thursdays. So this way, we can get out whatever information we have prior to the game starting. So, again, for Gary Grube at laxphilly.com, I'm Rocco Granado from InLacrosseWeTrust.com. Thank you, everybody, for joining us behind the bench. And we'll see everybody here again next week.